Welcome back to the Live Greater podcast. I am so excited to talk to my guest today, Samantha Tradelius, and she has been in commercial property insurance, and she has just so many things going on that I want to talk to her about, especially her foundation. So the Sparkle Foundation, I'm so excited about this. And so welcome, Samantha.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You're welcome. So tell us a little bit more about you. You're in California, and a little about your history of what's bringing you to these adventures.
All of these things, right?
Yeah.
So I live in the Bay Area now. I grew up in LA and have been up here in San Francisco area for almost 20 years, which is insane. I have spent a year's career, 24 years. I just renewed my insurance license, which is crazy, in risk management. So I've been a commercial insurance agent for years and years. And as though that wasn't enough, I decided at the young age of 23 to start gifting single moms Christmas, which then years later kind of snowballed into, hey, we're actually like making a big difference out there. Might make sense to form a, legit org. So in 2015, I got the paperwork together and did all the work. And by 2016, Sparkle was born. We are a full-blown 501c3 that just celebrated our 7th year of existence, serving single moms all over California. So we're in Bay Area, LA, and Sacramento currently. To date, we've served over 10,000 plus lives. We've given over $1.7 million back out to the community. We are all volunteer. So if you donate a dollar goes right back out into the community, which is awesome. And we do 4 things: a holiday gift drive, enrichment scholarships, backpacks, and microloans, all geared for single moms. And 3 weeks ago, we just did 5,000 backpacks, which was the most we've ever done. So the growth is definitely a huge momentum thing right now. But yeah, so that's me. I also have 2 kids. They're 13 and 10, 2 girls. And if I could make it through this tween teen era, I think I could pretty much make it through anything.
Yeah. Wow, that is so incredible, all that you're doing. So what prompted you at 23 to start doing that, to gift to single moms?
Well, what I wanted to do was do something, and I didn't have any money, a lot of money at the time. I was 23 years old, just starting my career. And, when I started researching charities, I was finding like a lot of them weren't as super transparent as what I thought. And, they don't really tell you if you donate $100 where that money goes.
Right.
So I really wanted to have something I had a little bit more, agency on, like knowing where my dollars were going. And so I just started off and went and found this program with the post office that was called the Dear Santa program. And kids would write letters to Santa, and they would go in these big vaults all over the country. And then you could go into these places and get the letters from the kids and then go deliver gifts to them. And the first year I did 2, and then I did 5, and then I did, 17 before last year, I think we did 70. So as you can see, it's grown year to year. Yeah. But my grandma was a single mom in the 1950s. And so when I had the opportunity to make a difference and, really focus my energies, it was like a lot of these stories I was reading were women that were just like my grandma. And so subconsciously, I just kind of gravitated towards that. And, that was it was a way that I knew I could be pointed and effective. And it made sense because it was close to home. And now, having that focus has been really directed and impactful, because single moms, as I learned very quickly, are such an underserved category. They need the help the most, and they're the last to ask. And so by providing just a little bit of a trampoline, bounce them back to get them, back in a place where they're not stressed out about paying for soccer or softball and, putting food on the table or paying rent. Those are 2 decisions a mom should never have to make. So we can help with those things. So that's what we've been doing.
That is amazing. So do you have a team that help you then? That's a lot that you're doing.
Oh yeah. No, I've got a board of, there's 8 or 9 of us now.
Okay.
And then we have, I think at any given moment, we have about 300 to 400 volunteers that are actually helping us do. It takes a village by all means, because when I started, I would totally bite off more than I could chew. And I'd be like, oh, I got this. And there were a couple years there where it'd be like me and 3 people wrapping gifts for 5 families, and it was super overwhelming. So as the momentum has grown, obviously the following has grown, and now it's, you know, getting people to help us is the easiest part of the journey. I would say year after year, but yeah, there's a lot of community help.
That's amazing. Your one desire to serve others has grown to help others be able to serve. That's just, it really warms your heart. And then really, I probably influences you or ignites you to serve even more, right? To just that momentum
Yeah.
we were talking about, just to do more and more. And
But it's interesting, and I would never like repeat it out loud, but I guess I will now because this will be public record. But the more we do, the easier it gets, because we built this amazing wheel that can channel and make this stuff. Like we did 5,000 backpacks, which is like, I saw a memory on Facebook 7 years ago, we did 25 backpacks. So just to tell you like the growth factor. And I mean, yeah, the volume is changing, but the logistics are the same. And, you know, you're just adding more people into the mix, and obviously it costs more money. You got to fundraise and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, helping people and being effective is like the best gift of all. And then being able to like see kids that are involved or families that are there, and, you know, moms, it's part of their tradition that they bring their families in. Or you have a mom that you've helped years ago, and now she's in the room wrapping gifts for another mom. I mean, all these types of things that are happening it fuels my fire completely, and everyone that's involved. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you had contact with any of those that you have served or gifted. And so like,
a lot of them come back and help us. Like we just had an event this last week where we had a brunch, and that was kind of our big fundraiser. And I had about 5 different volunteers that were helping, you know, do a lot of stuff in the back end that were families that we had served in years past, because they know, you know, that how important and impactful this was for them. And then to be able to give back and help, you know, other women that are in their, you know, position, super cool. And I mean, it literally feels, it's the best feeling. It really is.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, and then you said you do microloans as well. And so do you feel this is changing lives? Like not just here's a gift for Christmas to cover that, but to really impact them, to make a big change, to move forward in their lives and progress.
Sure. So the microloan thing was kind of an interesting idea, where I was truly trying to figure out, okay, I've got my business mind and all these great contacts and clients that are female that would love to like get involved with helping. And then I've got the Sparkle me over here, which knows that we can raise money and we could do things. So this bridge of like, what could be the next thing? Microloans totally made sense. And so when we originally started to build out the program, you know, we were thinking, well, we would just do grants, because grants were easier to just gift out. But then as we kind of dove into it, you know, there was no skin in the game. When you just give somebody $10,000, there's no reason for them to succeed other than like, thanks for giving me the 10 grand. We wanted to have a little bit more like process for them to get to where they wanted to go. So with the microloan idea was that it was money, it was interest free, and due back between 18 to 36 months of receipt. And along with it came mentorship. So you were able to then plug the holes of where these individuals were lacking. So our first recipient was this incredible woman. She had a great successful business, making money, but needed capital to expand and wanted to open a second location and, you know, buy some equipment, capital improvements. So she was definitely like on paper looking good. And so when we started to dive in and we decided we wanted to move forward with her, we realized like her systems were kind of a mess. She had money coming in, but it was like, you know, coming in from Venmo, PayPal, cash, credit card. It was all over the place. Entity setup, taxes, all that stuff. So we were able to really put those people in place. And she, within 6 months, was able to open her second location, buy all her equipment, and hire 5 people. Like unbelievable, right? Yeah. She ended up paying it back in 18 months and is like such a success story. And what we were able to do for her was believe in her. You know, she already had what it took, but we were able to do what we could. We gave her $10,000, and that $10,000 really did make a difference for her in a way that wasn't an overwhelming, you know, money. But the fact that she had to pay it back was like, she had to be successful, and we were going to help her get there because we wanted the money back to then go out and fund our next loan. So right now we're actually in the process of looking for our next applicant, which we'll probably do beginning of next year. We've got some great candidates we're kind of working through right now. But yeah, I mean, it's an amazing feeling to be able to allow people that, you know, want to be involved at a business level and help another woman get to where they are without having to have all the noise and you know, bruised knees, I like to say.
Yeah. And I think it's important. I like how you know, the microloan, there's responsibility that the recipient's receiving. It's not, you know, get this money and then they just spend it on whatever. They don't understand how to use it, or what, you know, just kind of waste it on things that won't help them evolve. But with, especially, you're also mentoring. That is so awesome that you're helping them along. So you're both successful, right? So you can help the next.
And it feels good, man. It's like, there's nothing like when somebody has a question and like, you're in a seat of like, hey, I know the answer, or like, I did this and it didn't work, but like, maybe we could try this. And maybe this is a better way to get to that next level. I think for a lot of women, you know, they're so afraid to ask because they think that maybe people will, you know, shun them or think less of them. And I think that this opportunity allows, you know, it's a team effort, and it really does foster like an incredible mentoring relationship. That, I mean, when we got our last payment, when she paid back that last payment, I sat at my desk and I cried, because when I thought of the idea, I had originally pitched it to like 100 people. And I said, here's what I'm thinking. And I had this big Zoom call, and half of them said, you're out of your mind. Like, stay in your lane. What are you doing? You know, this is stupid. And the other half said, okay, let's dig in more. So the other half stuck with me. And I mean, I did like lending law research, and, you know, because there's a lot of different things you have to put into perspective when you're going to lend money to someone. You know, we weren't charging interest, but what would that look like? How would we get paid back? What would all these things look like? And we got it all sorted out. And then COVID hit. And it was like, we'd had a big event planned downtown San Francisco at the brand new Salesforce Tower. Like, we were ready to go, and it was shelved. And I sat there and I was so devastated. And I thought, nope, I'm going to do this. I needed to raise money. And so it was my 40th birthday. So I did a Facebook fundraiser, $40 for my 40th birthday. And I raised 15 grand. And that's how we started the SparkleBiz Fund, which now is, you know, 2-3 times, you know, we can do 2 or 3 loans now, which is awesome that we built it out. But I was focused, and I knew that we could impact people and do some great work, and do it together. And so, like, the moral of the story is like, just don't give up, even though the roadblocks are there. Like, COVID was such a huge, like, just stop you dead in your tracks. And I was like, no, it's not going to ruin this brilliant idea. And it didn't. It was great. It was good.
That is so amazing. And I loved how you just kept pushing forward. There are roadblocks when you're trying to do something especially great that's going to serve and help others. Well, you're going to come up in roadblocks with everything, but just to keep pushing through them. And what a benefit for those people that you're serving. And I think to empower her, this woman that you're talking about, not only in the business right now, but just, you know, educating her on the next steps. And as you're learning too, right? To know how to do these microloans, and just everybody's moving forward. I love that. So
yeah, no, and it was cool too, because I just got to go see her. We were just on the news recently, and they showcased her and her business. So I actually got to go. I mean, I've talked to her all the time. I know her very well, but like, to go and actually see her space and like what she did with the money that we were able to give her was so awesome. You know, it just, it's something like, I can't even describe the feeling. It's really cool.
Yeah, but so tell us a little bit about why you were on the news. Go into that for us.
Yes. So now I can talk about it. It was a secret for a while, but I just received the Jefferson Award, which is like if I could put it lightly, it's like an Academy Award in the nonprofit space. So I was one of 10 in the Bay Area that was a recipient of this award, which is like a major big deal. Yeah. And it's an award, you know, for public service. And so we had a big CBS News story, and we got to be on the news, which is pretty cool. And, you know, to be able to share my story, because we really are like the little engine that could. I mean, was literally a young woman who wanted to make a difference, got my friends and family together, and the thing just kind of grew and grew into, you know, what it is today, which is more than I could have ever imagined. And it's so much bigger than me, which is, I think, the best part, because I mean, yeah, I'm the face of the organization, and I definitely I will get the mud thrown at me, right? I'll take the sword and like pave the way. But honestly, I'm 5% of an organization, because 95% of it is all the people that make it come to life.
Yeah. How incredible. I mean, to receive that award. And how long has the nonprofit been intact?
So the nonprofit itself, we're celebrating our 7th year this year. And I've been doing I started gifting. This is actually my 20th year of when I started. So it was kind of like a monumental moment on both tiers, and really just a special nod. So we were pretty excited.
Yeah, that is so incredible. At 23, like you kind of mentioned that you had no idea, what impact this would make. And now look how many people you're impacting. That is so incredible. So how is it impacting your family? You say you have 2 beautiful girls. So how is that impacting them with all that you're doing?
Well, it's an all hands on deck operation over here. And
awesome.
Whether you're my kid or my family or my friend, or even, just somebody I meet on the street, man, if we're doing something, you're going to know about it. Right. No, my girls are super into it. I mean, when I met my husband, we've been married for 14 years. So I was doing it when I met him. We've been together almost 20 years. So it's always been a part of just like, this is what we do at Christmas. This is what we do. The house turns into a warehouse. This last 2 years ago, we finally outgrew my house, because I used to store all the gifts here. So, I mean, it would be like a literal warehouse. And it was just a little bit overwhelming, but yeah, I mean, everybody works, we all work together. It's part of who we are. My daughter, who is almost 13, is now sitting on the board as a junior board member.
That's awesome.
Because we bring in, I like to bring them in when they're like in middle school, and then they sit on the board till, they graduate, because I think it's really important for them to have like a real board experience that, is real life with real decisions and real personalities and conflict resolution. So now she's on the board, and so she gets to see that part of things. But yeah, I mean, we all work together. It's part of who we are. It's in our blood.
That's incredible. I mean, for your child to receive that education, to be on the board. Wow, what an opportunity. That is
Could you imagine, like, as a young woman being able to sit on a board? I mean, wow. We just had one graduate high school and go off to college. And, she always says like how amazing the experience was, because I mean, the conversations are not always pleasant. And like, when it comes to picking families for Christmas, like some of us go toe to toe, and like, we'll get heated and have opinions and have intention and like be very focused on our decision-making. And so I think it's like a super cool experience for them to see like what real life, decision-making is like, in that environment. Good. And then also like how you're impacting others on the other side. So not only just like the selection process, but then the doing and then the delivering, and like getting to see the lives that you're impacting. I mean, the whole circle is it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is amazing. So how do you pick your applicants? I mean, you say you have this board, so you don't always agree on picking them. That's a hard decision, I bet.
Yeah, it is. So we have a couple things. So for our gift drive, we typically start that in October, and we will launch it October 1 and keep it open for 30 days. And so what we've done, year after year, we've fine-tuned it, and now we finally have it figured out. It's like an intake form where someone else has to nominate the mom, tell us her story, tell us why, she would be a great recipient for our Christmas program. Because we go in big. Like, once you're selected, we get to know you. We actually find out what your kids' sizes are, your color scheme. Like, do you need sheets, pots, pans, towels, whatever it is. Like, we really buy on purpose with the things that they ask for. Awesome. So when it comes time to select them, it's hard. So we have this big Excel sheet where everything gets into, and everybody's got a column with their name on it. And you literally go through and you read each story and you tick yes or no, or 1 or 2. And then whichever ones have the most score get moved up. And then we have to narrow it down. Last year we had over 200 applicants.
Wow.
And we just don't have, we knew we could do 50. We could do 50 here in the Bay, 10 in Sac, 10 in LA. So it was a total of 70 families, and that was manageable. Now this year we're probably up to 80, but it's still really hard. You hear these stories, and like each one's worse than the one you read before. And we really look for the person that, is in a situation to where they can put food on the table. There's, a roof over the head, but then there's no extra money. Like, that's the woman we want. The woman that really it would make a difference for. It's not going to change her life, but it would make a difference for this moment. And so that's really what we look for.
That's incredible to do that many. I mean, 70 to 80. That's a lot.
It's about 250 lives, and it's mayhem around December. It's crazy. But it's really cool to see the end result and then to get to go and deliver to a family.
Yeah.
It's I can't actually do it anymore because I just get so emotional about it and it like rips my soul out. And I haven't done it in years because I mean it's an amazing experience that like I want other people to experience, but it is hard. It is emotional because a lot of times they don't know how to receive because you come in with a treat, food, four big bags of gifts for everybody, bicycles, whatever they need, like we will get it. And it could be a lot. But it is something that I think every young person should absolutely experience, that moment because not everybody gets to live like everybody else.
Or anybody at any age to experience that,
Yeah.
And like you're saying, sometimes it is hard for the people to receive because they've been on the I need end, and it's kind of different than a gift of receiving.
100%. And remember what I said before, like women are the last to ask. So what we do is somebody else has gone up and said, hey, this person needs this. And so somebody else has vouched for them. And, some of them don't even know we're coming. Like some of it's a surprise completely. And those are always the ones that are the coolest because they are just blown away. And others of them, it's definitely like super emotional. I mean, people are crying. People are just overwhelmed. And it's not only those that are receiving, but it's also those that are giving. So it's like, that's what the sparkle is, right? It's what you get and what you receive from the experience.
Yeah. Both sides of the coin, both get sparkled, right? I love that.
Yes, indeed.
So how do you go about with your microloans then and make the decision? Is it a similar process or is that totally different?
It's a little bit more intense in a sense to where we have a little bit of a bigger team. The board is the one that makes the final decision, but the advisory panel for the SparkleBiz is about 20 women. And basically what we do is we look at a couple different things. We're not like a traditional lender in a sense where I'm looking at your credit and I'm looking at your bank account. I'm looking at more, do you have what it takes to get to the next level? Do you have these systems set up that, you're bringing in money and you're not broke? Because if you're broke and you're doing these things and then you're asking me for money, I'm kind of wondering, hey, maybe this isn't the best fit.
Right.
The women that are on they bring a whole different side. So if we have someone that's in, say, the beauty services industry, I'll bring beauty service professionals in that know that business and let them sit and let them hear what they have to say. And they're going to look at things much differently than I would because I'm in the financial services. So yeah, I mean, they all have their opinions. We have what we call the sparkle tank. So you get 3 rounds of questions and, back and forth. And then if you make it to the 3rd round, you get to pitch. And it's basically, you have a deck and you're on and you sell us. And if we want to bite, we will. We had one recently that we got through all the way. And then at the end, it was just, it wasn't going to be a good fit. Not because the woman wasn't a good. It was just, we kind of felt like she was a little too all over the place and not focused enough. And so for us, like our thing was like, hey, I don't want to give you money right now, but I will give you time to kind of figure this out. And then maybe we can, reapply. But yeah, they're tough, man. These gals they're not messing around.
That's so cool. And I love the process that they have to go through because then it really pushes them to fine tune probably what they're trying to accomplish and know the direction that they want to take their business. That is so good.
Yeah.
So what other impacts, I mean, this microloan, and then you've written a book lately, is that?
Yeah, I did about a year. Well, it came out end of 21. So we're almost coming up on a year and a half. Yeah. I wrote a book when I turned 40, because I needed something else to do.
Sitting around.
Right. Just hanging out. It's kind of a COVID baby. And how it originally started was it was Women's Month. And I was posting every day about an amazing, intentional woman in my life that has made an impact on me. Whether it was my mom, my grandma, my auntie, my board member, just people in my life. And so I got halfway through the month and I was like, I think this could be a book. So I wrote a book featuring 25 women that have made a difference. And they're just, some of them are everyday women doing extraordinary things that, have been impactful, not only in my life, but in others' lives as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I did it. I always wanted to write a book, and I sat down. It took me about a year to do it. And it came out, and it's like, it's a coffee book. It's a nice little coffee table book. It's not a novel. But it's something I'm really proud of.
Yeah. I mean, taking on and writing a book is a feat in itself, I think, but to share those stories, and those stories, they've impacted you, but they'll now impact other people. So I think that's awesome. So, and then you also have a podcast.
Yes, which is kind of a spinoff of the book. It's called InspiHER'd. And I co-host it with my girlfriend, Stacy, who her and I have been friends for 20 years. And we, again, in the middle of COVID, we're like, dude, we know all these amazing women that are just badass. Like, we got to get online and tell their stories. So originally it started with just our friends, and we were interviewing, our amazing, business owning friends here in San Francisco. And then what it's graduated to is now we're 3 years into it. We've interviewed over 150 women all over the world. And it's basically a woman who does more than gets up every day and breathes. So it's change makers, creators, boss babes. It's, women that have gone through crazy traumas and come out on the other side. I mean, the resiliency, as you know, of women is so incredible. And to have them tell their stories in their way, it's very, like, every single week, I'm just blown away with the women we're talking to. Like yesterday, we talked to a gal who, she met her husband online, and she's kind of like a love coach. Well, and she's this young little thing. And, it's always those ones where you're like, God, what am I getting into when I'm like going to interview somebody? And it's always those ones. I'm like, these women are incredible. I mean, their stories are phenomenal. So it's 30 minutes every Monday. It's called InspiHER'd, and it's on, all the major places you listen to podcasts. It's real. It's raw. We don't edit. We swear, we cry, we laugh. It's a good time. So we're just up on, I think we're almost to like 180 recordings, which is crazy.
That's so fun.
And we'll keep doing it as long as people keep listening.
That is so good. And you're talking about these inspired women, and you are one of them. I mean, you are so inspirational. It is amazing what you accomplish and what you're bringing other people in and inspiring and empowering them. It's so energizing. It's so incredible. This is so good. So, before we close, do you have anything else that you would like to share with people? Especially, I also want you to share where people can contact you and find out more about this, and maybe get involved, especially if they're in your area.
Yeah, so I have a very easy place to find all the things me. It's just my name, SamanthaTradelius.com. And there you can find a Sparkle link. You can find a book link. I also put the podcast on there. And then I also do a monthly blog featuring 3 she brands or women-owned companies that just make cool stuff that, we should know about. I don't get paid to talk about them. I just like them. So all the things there. And I mean, I think being involved in service work, whatever that means to you, whether it's, children, food insecurities, plants, the ocean, single moms, whatever it is, like, find your why and like make a point to give back to your community. And, and maybe you don't have any money, maybe you have time, or maybe you have knowledge, or, some other gifts that you can give. Because that gift of service, I think, is really, it's a purpose moment. And it really just, I think, fills your life bucket in just a little bit of a different way. So like, if I could leave anyone with any like little tidbit, like, get out there and serve your community, whatever speaks to you, your why. And I guarantee it'll feel good.
Yeah. It's a deep, it touches you deeply more than just doing other works. It's a deep service.
Well, being a part of something that's bigger than yourself is huge, and to like look outside and be like, wow, like I got up today and I stuffed 5,000 backpacks and distributed them, or I, packed 800 lunches, or, whatever those things are. It doesn't need to be some monumental moment. It's little baby steps. And I think as a parents and as we age, showing the youth that like, it's about giving and doing and making the world a better place together. I think that's such a feel good moment for everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, get out there and do good stuff, because it does feel good.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Samantha, for spending time with me. This has been incredible to talk to you. I really appreciate your energy and all that you're doing, and you're providing a way for so many. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me. It's so fun.
You're welcome.